Yes. So we start from there. They decided to move ahead together. As they waded through the waters, the scenes they witnessed grew more and more macabre. They had to push away many human bodies, men, women, children, and carcasses of dogs, goats, and cattle that the current swept against them as they would moved ahead. In every village that they passed, they could barely see a house standing. Prashant now wept out loud and long. He was sure that his family could not survive this catastrophe. Eventually, Prashant reached his village, Kalikuda. His heart went cold. Where their home once stood, there were only remnants of his roof. Some of their belongings were caught mangled and twisted in the branches of the tree just visible above the dark waters. Young Prashant decided to go to the Red Cross shelter to look for his family. Among the first people he saw in the crowd was his maternal grandfather. Weak with hunger, his maternal grandmother, weak with hunger, she rushed to him, her hands outstretched, her eyes brimming. It was a miracle. They had long given up. They had long given him up for dead. Quickly word spread and his extended family gathered around him and hugged him tight in relief. Prashant anxiously scanned the motley, battered group. His brother and sister, his uncles and aunts, they all seemed to be there. So his family was there, but in a very bad condition. House is no more. By the next morning, as he took in the desperate situation in the shelter, he decided to get a grip over himself, get hold of himself. His mental status was not good. He sensed a deathly grief settling upon 2,500 strong crowd in that shelter. 86 lives were lost in the village. All the 96 houses had been washed away. It was their fourth day at the shelter. So far they had survived on green coconuts, but there were too few to go around such a tumult of people. Prashant, all of 19 years, decided to step in as a leader of his village. If no one else did, he organized a group of youths and elders to jointly pressurize the merchant once again to part with his rice. This time the delegation succeeded and returned triumphantly, wading through the receding waters with food for the entire shelter. No one cared that the rice was already rotting. Branches from fallen trees were gathered to light a reluctant and slow fire on which to cook the rice. For the first time in 4 days, the survivors at the cyclone shelter were able to fill their bellies. They were able to eat, the stomach got some food. And the rice was rotting, the water must have got wet and it's got insects and whatever. They don't care about that. That is called hunger. His next task was to organize a team of youth volunteers to clean the shelter of filth, urine, vomit, and floating carcasses, and to tend to the wounds and fractures of the many who had been injured. Everything is mixing together. He said, I want a clean place. He got all the people together. Someone has to do it. You have to take a stand. On the fifth day, a military helicopter flew over the shelter and dropped some food parcels. It then did not return. The youth task force gathered empty utensils from the shelter. Then they deputed the children to lie on the sand left by the waters around the shelter with these utensils on their stomachs to communicate the passing helicopters that they were hungry. The message got through. And after that, the helicopter made a regular rounds of shelter, airdropping food and basic needs. Prashant found that a large number of children had been orphaned. He brought them together and put up a polythene sheet shelter for them. Orphan means the father, mother, dad. No one is there anymore. So he pulled up a polythene sheet, temporary tent type of thing. Women were mobilized to look after them. The rest of the women who were there were told to look after the children, while the men secured food and materials for the shelter. Weeks passed by. Prashant was quick to recognize that the women and children were sinking deeper and deeper in their grief. He persuaded the woman to start working in the food work program started by an NGO, a non-government organization. And for the children, he organized sport events. He himself loved to play cricket, and so he organized cricket matches for the children. Prashant engaged with other volunteers in helping the widows and children to pick up the broken pieces of their lives. The initial government plan was to set up institutions for orphans and widows. However, this step was successfully resisted, as it was felt that in such institutions children would grow up without love, and widows would suffer from stigma and loneliness. Prashant's group believed orphans should be resettled in their own community itself, possibly in the new foster families made up of childless widows and children without adult care. 6 months after the devastation of the super cyclone, this time Prashant's wounded spirit has healed simply because he had no time to bother about his own pain. His handsome youthful face is what the widows and the orphan children of his village seek outmost in the darkest hour of grief. Harsh Mandar has written this story. So what do you gain out of it? Or what did you understand? It's a true story, yes. There was a storm and he got stuck in a storm, and we really get paranoid at times. Why does this happen? How do we tackle with our own senses? He could have gone away from there. He could have been with his family. He could have arranged only food for his family. Going through that water and dirt and dead bodies and everything, which is really sad. Suddenly you reach and you see you had a home that is no more. Then what's going to happen? You hold your head down. So loss, when we lose something what we care, is very difficult to gain back. It takes time to build up relations. It takes time to build up your house. It's not only with cement bricks and all. There is so much love, there is so much affection, there is so much hard work with things which you make, and that gets destroyed. Children are being parentless. Government is saying they'll make homes. What will the children need? They don't know even what will they get. They need love, they need care from people. So he decided to keep the children in the village itself, so that the widows will have their minds at the right place if children are around. Those children are a very important thing in life. Children are very important. If you have a small child around you, your time will pass the whole day and you will always want to do something for that kid. Right? So anyone can face these situations in life, isn't it? Which makes a real problem. We should think for others. This guy forgot about all his pain which he had, Prashant. And cyclones are really bad. He started thinking for the children. He said, what to think about for myself anymore? So much time has gone away. They were alive, they were sick. They were not having food. People don't get to eat. Pandemic, you are getting to eat. Are you understanding my point? In the pandemic, we are getting to eat. We are able to buy things. Sometimes it's expensive, sometimes it's not available in the market. It's become a monopoly. People are taking advantage of the situation. Maybe the market, a 5 rupees Maggi they are selling for 6 rupees, somewhere 7 rupees, which is not good. Everything, the price they're increasing. I don't know why, and here the government is saying don't increase the prices, whatever the price is there, then shopkeepers are doing it. They think they're going to earn their full lifetime of the losses which they have occurred in this whole thing. I'll come back in the next video.